Da-dan! Should boys and girls go to separate schools? Stereotypically, lots of people think boys and girls should not mix together, especially at young ages where lots of us are very awkward towards each other, except for that rare breed where they go ahead and mingle together, which is then usually ousted out by the peer pressure from the other people, usually your peers, which is why it's called peer pressure. There are two types of schools nowadays. Firstly, they are the single-sex schools. And even those have two variants, the female single-sex schools or the male single-sex schools. For the co-education schools, otherwise known as co-ed schools, they are the classes where they go ahead and mix up the boys and the girls together. Although those classes go ahead and tell us have single-sex schools too. Even though they are co-ed schools, they have single-sex educational classes. This is the thing about this debate. Should boys and girls go to separate schools? Lots of people kind of say yes, others say no. Those people have their own reasons. The ones that say yes have their own reasons as well too. In the end, we're going to have to go ahead and look at both sides of this debate. Sounds very cheesy, I know, but this is how it works. Let's start. Always first, pros. The pros first point is that single-sex schools goes ahead and helps boys and girls learn in the ways that are best fit for them because according to common sense knowledge, boys and girls' brains have different ways. They're wired differently, or as it is said in the book, I quote here, some people believe boys' brains and girls' brains work differently. They don't give us any evidence though. And now the first point of the cons team, they go ahead and say that there is literally no proof that supports that boys and girls at schools directly leads to better grades and that boys and girls' brains work differently. Yeah, sure. So of course their bodies work differently and of course their mindsets are usually work differently because of how they are raised. Boys are raised to be risk takers, to be very messy, go dirty in the dirt. Girls are taught to be clean, mannerful, really good at school, and be very quiet and let themselves know their limits. Even though that stereotype and that way of thinking and that way of raising was outdated and is still outdated, that way of thinking and that way of raising is unintentionally passed on through generations through experience. Sad. The second point of the pros team is that students at single-sex schools will feel the most comfortable, mainly because they are with other people and at their own gender. The only ones that I'm thinking of that are probably not very comfortable with their own gender are trans or are LGBTQ people, but those are rare, very rare exceptions in the world, and we are talking about only two genders, boys and girls. Students at these single-sex schools feel those most comfortable too, because now they don't have anyone from the opposite sex to go ahead and judge them for trying new subjects or activities that are usually stereotypically associated with the other gender, like sewing, mending, artworks, and music with the girls, and science, math, and PE with the boys. Yeah, you can just go ahead and switch that. Those stereotypes are gone. So long gone, to be honest. The second point is that separating boys and girls highlights the differences, and this can go ahead and lead to stopping stereotyping. If you go ahead and show them the differences between the boys and girls, this will lead to stereotyping, which is really, really something that lots of people try to avoid. Now, the third thing is that students at single-sex schools aren't distracted by members of the opposite sex. You know, especially as they grow older, you kind of get more attracted towards the other sex, unless you are one of those rare occasions with the weird mindsets that sets you apart from boys and girls. And now for the cons team. The cons team goes ahead and states that, well, boys and girls aren't separated outside the school, so single-sex education doesn't really show how real life works. And now the fourth and final point of the pros team. The pros team goes ahead and this says that single-sex schools allow students to see more members of the sex as role models, because now in single-sex schools, instead of a male-dominated student council, or which is traditionally happening in most schools I've been to, a female-dominated student council, you go ahead and have say a male dominant one or female dominant one according to how you experience your life and what kind of person you are in, now that you have role models of your own gender. And the fourth and final point, very final point of the whole video, is from the cons team. And they go ahead and say that, hey, separating boys and girls keeps them from learning from each other. And if you keep them from learning from each other, you're doomed, like, so hard. Mainly because now you don't know how to act in front of them. In the end, though, I think boys and girls should not really go to separate schools. Oh, yes, classes should exist where boys and girls are separated. There are certain classes that you really need to learn that requires boys and girls to be separated because of the certain things that will be learned from there. However, in most cases though, I think they should go to the same school. Separate schools goes ahead and teaches them that your opposite gender is something you should be staying away from, is something that you should not understand, you will never understand, and is stereotypically inferior to you or superior to you depending on where you went to. Stereotypically wise, of course, that's what they say, but unstereotypically wise, that is not so true. To just go ahead and break down the already strong barrier between the boys and the girls, you should go ahead and make sure that they go to the same schools to help break down the barrier. There are, of course, other ways to increase gender inequality, but this is the fastest way. So that is the end of today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys soon. Until next time, Shohan out. Peace. Bye bye.